Good day and welcome to Natural Health Dialogue. You know, we on this program with naturopathic Dr. Randy Lee, we talk a lot about cleansing. Generally, the first topic or the first podcast of the month is about cleansing. And some people might be thinking, well, you know, haven't we talked enough about cleansing? But I'm not sure it's really possible with all the contaminants out there that can get into our bodies. I'm not sure we can talk enough about it. And we're going to cover a different aspect of it today with naturopathic Dr. Randy Lee. What are we going to talk about?
You know, every month I do some kind of a cleanse, and I've told this story many times before. I just had a lady who came in and says, I want to do your cleansing program, so she made me write it all down. But in April of every year, I do a Tao-He cleanse. It's a Nature Sunshine product. It's a total body cleanse. It has 2 packets per day. Each of them have 6 capsules, and the capsules take care of things like the colon, the bloodstream, the digestive system, various organs, body cells, some of the common parasites, those kinds of things. But I do that in April, and if you wanted to have more on that, you can go back to our April podcast on the Tao-He cleanse or the total body cleanse and pick that up. But I do it twice a year, and I make that comment from the very beginning. Well, October is the second month of the year, April and October, 6 months apart, that I do the Tao-He. I didn't want to repeat all the stuff on the Tao-He cleanse, so I decided what I would do is talk about what I call the natural cleanse, which is... For me, October is Tao-He, but for everyone, this natural cleanse could be every day, all day long. And quite frankly, I relate it to something that helps your body to regularly cleanse all the time, and it has to do with movement. Now, immediately we jump into, are you talking about bowel movements or things like that? I'm talking about just moving. During this global pandemic that we're experiencing right now, more and more people are working from home. More and more people are staying at home. You have your food brought in with Grubhub or one of those agencies. You have grocery stores are now delivering your groceries to your house. You're not going out to do any shopping. Basically, people have stopped moving. And so I remember reading... it's been almost a year ago now, a journal of the American Medical Association that made the statement that a sedentary lifestyle is the new cancer.
Right.
Now, what they mean by that is not moving at all. We're having more people dying from not moving at all than we have dying from some of the major diseases.
So you don't move, you don't cleanse, the toxins build up, and bad things happen.
That's exactly right, and that's where we were going with that, is that just basically if you don't move, some of your organs don't move. Now, everybody says, well, what do you mean they don't move? And I said, you know, your heart is a pump for the circulatory system. But if you're looking at the major waste disposal systems of the body, things like the bowel, the lymphatic system that gets rid of those 100,000 plus cells that die in your body every day and have to be dumped out, I call it the toothpaste effect. It takes muscle movement to move those things along. They don't have a pump. And so if you don't move, they don't move.
Right.
That's also, in large measure, the same thing for the gallbladder, the kidneys, the liver. Those are major detoxifying organs. Now, in that case, the circulatory system is pumping through them somewhat, or the urine is being pumped through them somewhat. They're not as dependent on movement as are the lymphatic system and the bowel, but they are still important to have that exercise component. So we want to make sure that people are getting some movement during this pandemic.
So what would you say? Do I need to 30 minutes a day of walking and I'm good, or is this something I need to do like once every half hour at my desk? Remember to stand up and stretch or something.
You know, I wear a Fitbit. I'm not a big proponent of Fitbits, and I don't do big exercise programs. But the Fitbit is set up to record steps that you take and the recommended. I mean, you said how many steps you want in a day. I do a minimal 5,000 because I'm also in a sedentary work. I sit at my desk and I work, or I talk to people consulting on their health, but we do it around a table or around a desk. I don't move a whole lot either. So the Fitbit has a little buzzer thing on my wrist that tells me every hour to get up and do 250 steps. You can do 250 steps in about a minute or so. It doesn't take very long. It's just the remembering to get up and move around. I'm more an advocate of movement on a regular basis.
Okay.
Fitbit types things than 30 minutes at the gym and you don't do anything else the rest of the day.
Right.
Let's face it, your body is your cells are dying at a given rate throughout the day inside your body. If you're going to lose 100,000 plus a day, that's not going to happen in one 30-minute period. That's some cells all day long. So as they are dying off, they need to be moved out of your body. Your bowel, you eat at least 3 times a day. Most people, whether they're snacks or meals or whatever, there's something in your mouth much. In America, we chomp on something all the time. So if that's chomping's going on all the time, it needs to be processed through your digestive system and through your bowel on a regular basis.
Needs movement.
So keep moving. The problem, the other problem with that is that a lot of people then do what you've heard me say a number of times, that people who retire, give up their jobs and they go home and say, I've finished my life's work. I'm going to go home and sit down and watch football.
Right.
Average life expectancy of someone who does that is about 2 years, according to the medical journals that I've read. Your body is built for movement, and if you build up those toxins and stuff, you just die. So now we're finding that during this pandemic, more and more people are going home and sitting down to do their work and sitting down to do everything that they do at home.
And sitting down to shop.
Sitting down to shop, sitting down to eat, sitting down for everything. And so many other, that produces inflammation in your body. And there are many other things that can produce inflammation in your body, but the natural toxicity that comes from neglecting the waste movements out of your body is certainly one of those things that builds up that kind of inflammation that ultimately leads to diseases and then ultimately leads to death. I've looked at the decrease in mobility that's on the rise all the time, and find out that even people who used to go to the gym, many of those gyms are not open now.
Right.
And many of the activities that they used to participate in, sports activities, running outdoors, some people can still go outdoor and run, but most of the organized sports activities are also on hold. Big things in the news this week about lawsuits that are going on in some schools where parents are saying, I want my kids back in school and I want my kids back into their sports programs. I don't know if they're just getting tired of having the kids at home all the time or what, but the point is, much of the stuff that we used to do for exercise isn't even available anymore. Yeah. So it takes a conscious effort to take care of those. So I've begun what I call the sedentary, septic-producing lifestyle. Septicity is just inflammation inside the body, and after you get to a certain point, you become more and more septic, more and more inflammation, and the ultimate outcome of sepsis is death. And so we're going to kill ourselves by not doing any exercise whatsoever. Certainly regular program of cleansing and detoxifying, along with good nutrition, proper supplements, will add quality to your life and ward off many of the diseases. But if you neglect exercise, what I'm calling the natural cleanse, then you're also going to end up with major diseases. So movement, the natural cleanse, make sure that you're doing some movement to keep your life going.
That's a great reminder for all of us, especially me. I think I'm going to go back and raise my stand-up desk. Okay?
There you go.
As I'm inspired by this.
There are a lot of creative things that people can do to get some extra movement in, and we just need to be thinking that we need to move. We need to remember that if we just sit, we're becoming toxic, and that's going to lead to disease at the front end and death at the far end.
And there are apps that help us do that too, those of us that have to be reminded to do things.
Yep.
So.
My Fitbit is my reminder. I don't think about getting up and walking until it buzzes. and I feel it on my wrist, and I say, oh yeah, I haven't, and it'll tell me you've got 248 of your 250 steps still left to do this hour. And so I just make it a habit when it buzzes, get up and walk around for a minute or two, make sure that I get that 150 step or 250 steps in. That's what I've set as my goal. 5,000 steps a day, 250 steps an hour, and it works pretty well for me.
All right. Well, there's a good reminder for all of us. So until next time, keep moving.
Amen.